Hey everybody, TacticAngel here, back to talk a little about World of Warships Legends. This time, the March 2020 update. We're going to run down all the stuff in this update, talk a little bit about what's going on with the World of Warships Legends stream, and then also what you should expect from my channel in the next couple of weeks. As we start out, obviously the big news here, and if you've logged in already, it's hard to ignore. The Russian cruisers are finally here. You can level them up from 1 all the way to 7. And here on the screen you can see what those particular ships are. Also available during this update are some of the Russian destroyers. They are in early access, kind of like how they did the German destroyers back when they introduced the Germans into the game. And the way that works is that they might drop out of these loot boxes. Now you can only get 4 out of the 6 in any of the boxes, and if you want to look up the chances of winning anything out of any particular box, here it is on screen for just the normal Russian box and the big Russian box, which you actually have to spend money on. Nice thing about this is actually you can spend credits on these smaller Russian crates, which means if you have just an enormous amount of credits like some of us who've been playing from the beginning and maybe playing too much, then you can spend some of those on these boxes and increase your odds of getting some of these ships from early access and all of the other sort of goodies that you can expect out of these boxes. Now I do want to put a special reminder, it is only the middle ranks of the destroyers. You may see these symbols in the tech tree when you're looking at the actual ships, though the Tier 2 and Tier 7 Russian destroyer do have that little icon. You cannot win them, so don't spend all of your money trying to get them. They are not available. Along with the Russian cruisers and some of the Russian destroyers, we have obviously 6 additional folks to help pilot these boats. Here you can see all of them on the screen. Actually, coming up next week, you should hear from me a commander review of one of these gentlemen. To go along with that, we have the War and Peace campaign. Now, the War and Peace campaign is going to last from March 9th through April 13th. It is a 95 level campaign, and you'll have to get around 19 ranks per week in order to actually finish it. That happens to be, I believe, exactly how many ranks you can get each week. This is actually the operations structure, and the Sailing Robin was nice enough to confirm that they will have the same missions each week throughout the entire campaign. Now, this is great because this first week you can get a feel for whether or not these are really completable for you. It is actually quite a grind to get through these endurance trials. After you get through the endurance trials, though, these shakedown trials can be earned at the same time. And in each one of those, you need to place in the top 4, 3, or 2 players in your team. Since you're doing these simultaneously, you could theoretically finish them in just 8 battles, as long as you placed in the top 2 each time. You actually wouldn't need to even do that well, but I'm trying to make it simple. In total, you do need to accumulate 2,350 renown. There's actually a total of 2,375 renown, but since that extra 25 renown isn't going to get you anywhere, you're going to have to get every last bit of renown in order to win the top prize. This time around, it is the Kutuzov, a Tier 7 Russian premium cruiser. Also note, what I've put up on the screen is what you're going to earn if you have Admiralty backing versus what you're going to earn if you don't have Admiralty backing. I will draw your attention down to this red circle with what appears to be a P in it. That stands for rubles. And with rubles, you can go into the Admiralty and buy all sorts of other things, including some permanent camo for the Budioni and the Grevny. If you want to jumpstart your progress into the Russian line, you can get a couple of Russian commander crates. There's also insignia and promotion orders and premium time, which is always nice. We do have some updated combat missions. In the game, this is actually a little bit confusing. Essentially, there are 3 different weekly missions now, and they can be fulfilled while you're either playing solo or while you're playing in a division. And there's an either or, and how it's displayed in the game is either an A or a B. And whichever one you finish first, you get that reward. The reward is the same for A and B. So if you're playing solo, then essentially you have to maybe kill 10 ships. If you're playing in a division, you have to kill 22 or something like that. So it works out pretty well if you're in a division of 3. It's a little extra work if you're in a division of 2, but maybe if you play with somebody who's better than you or luckier than you, maybe they help carry you through one of these weeks. And that's pretty nice. You do get a pretty sizable amount of promotion orders. I think this is also to help compensate for that there's not the first win bonus for tier 6 or 7 ships like there was in the last update. Also of note, in tier 6 and tier 7 only, the matchmaker is going to try to match the same number of destroyers for each side. Now, I will note that if you form a fail platoon, which is you platoon with a tier 5 destroyer and maybe a tier 6 anything else, and you get pulled into a tier 7 game, you still might have an imbalance on the teams, but in theory, most of your games are going to have the same number of destroyers, at least quite a few more than there were in the last updates. Of course, there are also going to be plenty of new premium ships. I've already kind of mentioned one, and that is the Kutuzov. I will be putting up a review of the Kutuzov tomorrow, actually. Then we have another ship that can be purchased with global XP. That is HMS Monarch, a tier 7 British battleship. And I should have my review for that up this weekend. As we progress through this update, we will also be greeted by the first Russian battleship, the Imperator Nikolai I, on March 23rd. She is a tier 4 Russian battleship. After that, we will see the British destroyer Gallant on March 30th, and she is going to be a tier 5 British destroyer. Then finally, we have the Soviet cruiser Molotov. That'll arrive on April 6th, and she is a tier 5 Soviet cruiser. In terms of other miscellaneous news, there are several ships that can now be purchased not from the store, but actually from the tech tree, so make sure to occasionally look there if you're looking for specifically the Mutsu, de Grasse, Dunkirk, Warspite, or T61. It looks like there is probably some sort of event planned for April 1st, and Wargaming intends to announce more about that on a secret special stream that will be announced in the future. That said, I'm not sure if this is really a super special secret because their Twitch page seems to indicate it might be this day. But that's really all we got from the live stream, aside from Tikana's gradually rising blood pressure every time people ask him about carriers. Not anytime soon is the answer. As you can see, there's also been several bugs that have been fixed. It looks like most of these are pretty small potatoes, but it's always good when the game's just a little bit more polished. Hope this has been useful for all you guys. I have left links down in the description to all of the different things that you might want to look at. Hope to see you guys here for those ship reviews and that commander coming next week, and of course that you enjoyed this video. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.